Okay, in this video I'm going to cover some of your filtering options that are identified in your text, specifically on page 281 through page 283. This is, again, something you can do whether you have a table or not. You just have to have the filter option put on. So just as we had done before, we used the drop-down box here to sort our column using these quick sort features. We have some other options that show up below here as well. So let's talk about what these different items are. So let's assume I only wanted to see days of the month where I had a snowfall of 0.71 inches. So I'm going to select the unselect button here, the select all, and I'm just going to turn it on and off. Notice how the check boxes turn off. So if I only wanted to turn on one, I'm going to check off that, and I'm going to turn on that particular item that I'm looking for in my data set, and I'm going to say OK, and that will sort out my rows where that data does not show. Notice what it's really doing is hiding other rows that are going on here. So I jumped from 5 to a hidden row 6 and now my visible row 7. Same between 11 and 37. So these days show up where I have data appearing. Okay, so that's if you want to check on one item. Let's say I wanted to check on 2. I certainly can do that as well. So you can combine this, all of the different check boxes together however you wish. So let's turn them all back on. But let's say I wanted to know any days where I had less than half an inch of snow. So one way to do that is to check on the 0.47 and the 0.49 boxes and filter that way. But the alternative way is to come up to the number filters and look at what I can do. I can filter by a bunch of different things. I can filter by less than, and in this case I wanted to do less than half an inch and say OK. So what it's doing is it's really just checking on those boxes or those rows that satisfy that condition. So again, let's look at some of the other options under the number filters. I could look for a specific value. It's the same as checking on one of these different items. I can say does not equal. So it's like checking all of these items but one. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or between. Let's see what we can do with between. So let's say I want to know that it's greater than 0.5 inches but less than 0.7 inches. So it's between those values of 0.5 and 0.7. I'm going to say OK, and now my software or my option is figuring out which values satisfy that condition. Okay, let's look at some more other options that we can do here. We can look at the top 10, the above the average, below the average. I challenge you to figure out what those things mean, but really you really can play around with this and filter your list any way you want to do that. So let's select these all. I'm going to clear the filter, and we're going to select the items that are greater than, or those top, or those 4 values. I'm going to say OK. But remember, when I was doing my sort, I couldn't use a multi-level sort on by using these values here, or these drop-down boxes. But I certainly can do it with the filter. So once this is my highest level filter, and let's say I only want to see those days where those conditions appear. And now I can layer on a multi-level filter. Filtering is a great thing to understand. Play around with it. The textbook shows you some different options in addition to what I've just showed you. Oftentimes it's understanding what you're trying to accomplish to go ahead and then have the software do what you want to do.